There's a cyber brothel in Berlin that I travelled to for the book where you can go and you can use sex robots. You can order a sex robot to be prepared for you when you arrive.
Now, Philip Fusenegger, who is, the owner of this, has said that people just feel more comfortable when they're talking to a machine because machines don't judge you. Is it that machines do not judge you, or is it that you can do whatever you want to a machine? Things happening in Germany, more specifically what has been happening in Germany for a year now. Berlin now has what is called a cyber brothel, meaning that the customers, who are majority men, have the option to rent out these AI dolls, and these dolls can have conversations with them, they can physically interact with them. The men also have the option to get, a VR headset, so it feels as real as possible even though they're only talking to a machine. They can book them for hours or even the entire night. Anybody with a couple of $100 can go to these AI dolls. Now, Philip Fusenegger, who is, the owner of this, has said that people just feel more comfortable when they're talking to a machine because machines don't judge you. Is it that machines do not judge you, or is it that you can do whatever you want to a machine?
It's both. The machines don't judge what you want to do to them. So if you go there and you want to punch her, the machine ain't going to judge you for doing that. If you go there and you don't want to look at her in the eye and you just want to, walk in and have your most depraved fantasy play out, the machine's not going to judge you for that, right? So it's both. They don't want to be judged, but they also want to have access to be able to do what they want to do. And in both scenarios, it just proves how disgusting men can be.
That would be very illegal to do to a woman, because we're getting incredibly concerning reports on these things. You are able to customize your dolls the way they look, their hair, their eyes, their skin, their size. You can even give them features that would normally be seen in, people who are below the age of 18. You can also, reinforce the mindset that when it comes to, heterosexual relationships, the only person whose actual desires and thoughts matter are the man's. The woman is just there to do whatever you want her to do. You're going to make it impossible for these men to have actual interactions with real-life human beings. We're also getting reports on, men asking for dolls with injuries, with blood, asking to do incredibly horrific and violent things to these dolls. Things that could land them in prison if they were to do that to an actual woman. But hey, that is just fantasy. It's not reality, right? We have never seen men who are interested in these types of things and who are consuming this type of content online or now in real life with these types of dolls actually targeting and being violent towards real-life human beings, real-life women. That has never happened before, and it will definitely not happen here. It is
definitely has happened. I know she's being facetious. Definitely has happened. And this reminds me of that video game that they had. The one I did the video on that one, but the video game they had based out of the UK on that one website where the men were going around, and in the video game, the whole game was for you just to like grape as many people as you can in the game. Like that was the whole premise of the game, to commit the most depraved sexual acts. So yeah, this is crazy, man. This is crazy.
All just about, making sure men have a place where they can live out their depraved fantasy. Because God forbid a man is ever judged for wanting to be violent towards a woman, for wanting somebody that looks like a minor, for wanting a woman covered in bruises and injuries and blood. You should never judge a man for that. That's just the way they are, right? Also, they are saying, their workday begins with a doll shower, which just sounds like the nastiest things ever because they have to clean up all of these dolls after the men are done with them. They then put on this beautiful makeup on these dolls so they look like real women. One of the dolls is called Kokeshi. Her skin is described as super soft, and it even smells like perfume. 1 hour with her costs $100, and the owner himself says that it is very rare for female customers to come, but they do have a
very rare for female customers to come because women see men as human beings and they don't objectify men. Women don't objectify men, like period, like as a group, like they just don't objectify men. There's more. It's the stark, the stark differences between how men view women and how women view men. It's crazy. Like if there was a statue of a naked man with his wang dang out, it wouldn't, like, the penis wouldn't be rubbed off by women. You know what I mean? Like if there's a statue of like a really buff god, like goddess or godly like man or whatever, you know what I mean? Some buff male god type figure somewhere, and women had access to it, the pectoral muscles of the statue wouldn't be rubbed down and shinier than everywhere else on the statue, right? Men do shit like that, though. Like female statues, men do shit like that. You know what I mean? Like men just robots, statues, real life, doesn't matter. Men see women as objects. They see women as things to be controlled and to be fondled and to be groped and, to the man's heart's content, right?
Doll for that, even though it gets used next to never, at least not by women. The owner says he wanted to create an art gallery, somewhere where you could interact with the art by using and abusing it. That is the way you're supposed to interact with art. He says after a few minutes, the doll adjusts to my body heat and then it's very comfortable. At first, this was supposed to be temporary, but it got more and more popular. The way Kokeshi, welcomes these men is by saying, "Hi, I am Kokeshi. I'm an intergalactic being. It's my cosmic mission to bring the intercourse of the future to the earth." The person behind the voice is a real life human being. There's a camera and she can see everything that is happening, so she can also react to what is happening, I guess. She wants to stay anonymous and calls herself Aphrodite. She does say she's trying to, also teach consent to these adult men. If somebody just, kind of jumps her, she says she'll be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, please ask me before you do this." Now, what
Definitely she's not teaching them consent. But that would be dope though. That would be dope, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like if that was the actual purpose, like the men thought they were coming in just to do what they wanted to do, but then the people in there are like, let's have a healthier interaction. You know what I mean? That way you can take that out with you, into the real world, then great. But we know that that's not happening because they're saying that the doll is getting abused after the reports are coming out after the fact that the dolls are getting abused. They're crazy. They're looking crazy. They're messed up, whatever. So yeah.
do these dolls look like? They look like all the women out there, all real life women. A very big chest next to no waist, because organs are not necessary when you're a woman, and very long legs. That's super educational for the men, because that is what the founder is saying, that he wants the men to be free to explore and to also maybe learn something out of this. Now they're going out and learning that, women should do whatever they want them to do, look however they want them to look, not complain, not cry, not yell, and also very unrealistic proportions. He does say that the people who manufacture these dolls are white men. We know. It is quite obvious, but thank you. Now, as I said, there's also a VR element to this. It's so you can imagine a woman that looks the way you want her to look in whatever situation you want her to be in. But then you also have the option to actually touch something in real life, aka the doll. We have the options to do so many things with, modern technology. But in this instance, it was chosen to, feed men's addiction to adult content, unrealistic ideas about women, and also make them believe that certain, fantasies that are definitely not okay are okay. There is a reason why, it's mostly men who are interested in establishments like that. And instead of addressing that and fixing that, you're just feeding more into it.
The thing about this whole thing is there is a question, right? There's a question that people ask, and the question is, do these things make it safer for women on the street in real life, or does it make it less safe? My answer to that is it makes it less safe for women, because ultimately what this is porn on steroids. That's all it is. It's porn on steroids. And men already have porn brain. And you see what porn brain is doing to our society. But when you add VR, it's just porn, and then you add a robot to it, it's just porn, pretty much, right? The reason why it makes it worse is because when the men go there, like she just said, they get to do whatever they want to do. They have unrealistic expectations of women. What does porn do? Is that not what porn does? Does it not create the most crazy, disgusting fantasies for men? I don't think most men would fantasize about sleeping with their sister, even their stepsister. You know what I mean? I don't think most men are fantasizing about doing that. I really don't. But porn normalizes shit like that, right? I can see a teacher or something, the authority, you know what I mean? Whatever. Okay. But I don't think most men are, hell bent on sleeping with schoolgirls. I think porn does that. There's a bunch of examples I can give. I don't think I know for a fact men were not obsessed with women being shaven, looking like, prepubescent girls down there in their nether regions. Before porn did that. Before the women started to shave in porn, men weren't expecting women to look like that. That wasn't, women had hair down there, like they do, like they grow naturally, you know? Um, so I could point to a bunch of things where porn has warped our brain, how men don't, want to do anything romantic. They think it's just like walk in and just be like, oh, did anybody order a pizza? And then you just whip out your dick and now it's time to go, So yeah, you can see how that shit is really rotting our brains. And I don't think having VR and robots would do anything but make it 10 times worse, right? Because now it's in the flesh. Like it's going to be 10 times worse.
There's a cyber brothel in Berlin that I traveled to for the book where you can go and you can use sex robots. You can order a sex robot to be prepared for you when you arrive. You can order one that's covered in blood. You can ask for custom things, particulars, and I asked them to slash and cut and tear her clothing before I arrived just to see if they would, and they did, no questions asked.
I genuinely think that's the most fucked up thing I've ever heard in my life. I can't believe that exists. I cannot believe it.
But what no one is talking about is that you can download a version of this, so the same exact thing that lives in your pocket, and it's called...
Real quick, imagine, like, me as a black person, so I usually relate everything back to being black, but like, imagine there's like experiences, in real life where you can like own a slave, a robot slave, but you can own a slave and you can like whip it and, treat it like a slave. You can do whatever you want to do to it, right? Imagine that. Imagine how freaked out like black people would be like, what the fuck? Right? Not to say we would put that past this country, because we know this country don't give a fuck about black people, but like the plantation that just burned down, they used to have weddings there and shit. They don't care about us. They don't care about what this country has done to us and continues to do to us. But black people would be like freaked out. So I completely understand these women's reactions. To anybody that doesn't understand that, like, why would that trip them out? Is like, that's trippy. That's crazy. And it tells you exactly where you stand in society, that they would allow that, because they wouldn't allow that for every class of people. You know what I mean? Like not you couldn't get away with that with every class of people, but you can get away with that for women.
In your pocket, and it's called an AI girlfriend or an AI chatbot, and you can create her again to look exactly how you want her to look. You can customize everything. You get to pick her name. She will be there moving on the screen. She's an avatar, or she can look very realistic. She can be like someone who essentially kind of looks like you're FaceTiming with her. If you're a teenage boy, you can have her. You can have as many as you like. You can access them for free. You can jump into scenarios with them. You can abuse them. In fact, many men abuse them and then share the screenshots of abusing them with each other online to see who can do the most awful and depraved thing to them. If you look at last year alone and you just look at the Google Android Play Store, the top 11 apps, chatbot AI apps, have a combined 100 million downloads. This is huge. This is a bigger problem. And again, it's something that no one is talking about.
Then we need to talk about it. I did reach out to one of my mutuals. Hopefully I can get her on next time. It's Dr. Jazzberry. You guys go follow her on TikTok. She talks about this stuff all the time. I will definitely be doing more content on this. Like, I want to start a whole series on like AI and, SMEX, and talk about how it's affecting us as a society and where it's going in the future. So there's a bunch of this though. There's a bunch of this, like these scenarios happening. So this is not going to be the last one, but I'm definitely going to try to do that. I think that is something that we need to talk about. We need to watch, and we need to, raise awareness about it, keep raising awareness about it, because it is extremely dangerous. And I have a teenage son. I have a son that's about to be a teenager in few months, but I also have a younger son that will be a teenager soon himself. And that is frightening. Him having access to that is very disturbing, very frightening. I'm doing everything that I can to make sure he doesn't want to do that he respects women, and he does right now. Thank goodness. Fingers crossed that continues, but still scary society. And, the pull of the patriarchy is very strong, very, very, very strong, but I'm going to stick with it. And we're going to see if we could keep reaching out and keep addressing these issues as they come up, because we need to raise awareness and we need everybody to know what's going on. I want everybody to be on board with